What's going on, family? You back in the lab with AB Joshua, man. This one right here, this lady was saying, how can a man walk away from a child when he found out the DNA is not his? Man. And I'm going to let her cook, man. I'm going to let her break it down, then I'm going to come back and give my commentary on it.
How can a man walk away from a child that he has been raising for 3, 5, 10, 15 years simply because the DNA test shows that he's not the biological father? Hear me out here. I'm not being insensitive. I know that his world has just been turned upside down. I know he feels betrayed. He's devastated. I empathize. I sympathize with his predicament. However, how is one able to walk away from a child that one has bonded with, loved, nurtured, poured blood and sweat into, simply because the DNA test shows that you're not the biological father? I understand getting rid of the wife or the girlfriend. The word I actually want to use starts with a W and rhymes with sure. Get rid of the W. But the children or the child, the innocent child, it is flummoxing to me. Now, I'm not a man and I do not know how this impacts men. I also know that there's deep shame. But were I in that predicament, of course I would be devastated. I'd be hurt and betrayed. But then I'd let the children know or the child know. You may not be my biological child, but you're still my child. I love you. You're my child in my heart. I've bonded with you. I've raised you. So nothing changes. Now, I know a lot of men worry about, then I have to continue paying I have to pay child support now that we're not together. So what? I'd pay the child support. Because you know what? Even though everything has changed, nothing should have changed because it's still the child that I raised, bonded with, and loved. And in an attempt not to pay child support, one ends up cutting off one's nose to spite one's face. Because you got to look at the big picture, the relationship with that child, the continued relationship, and the ability to go ahead and raise and nurture that child because you already have that bonded relationship. But once again, because I'm not a man, I do not understand how anybody can walk away from a child. Story time. My husband had a boss about 20 years ago. This gentleman's son had some medical issues. And to make a long story short, he found out that his 19-year-old son was not his biological child. Needless to say, he was devastated. But you know what? He had raised this child for 19 years, was paying for college. This was his son, and he was not going to let him go. And my heart broke for him, but I was so proud of this man because he did not walk away from his child. And I think at times some men might think walking away from the child is a way to punish the woman for her betrayal. But at the end of the day, the person you're hurting is the child. And I can't help but wonder, won't you be traumatized as a person walking away from someone that you've bonded with, that you've loved? For the man, isn't that traumatic? I mean, I really do not understand. I just cannot relate. And once again, I'm not a man. I'm sensitive to the hurt, to the pain, to the betrayal. But is it right to walk away from a child you've bonded with simply because the DNA test shows that you're not the biological father?
All right, let's get into it. The short answer is it's not going to be easy. But however, when I look at that kid, I'm seeing the betrayal, especially if you're talking about we've been years, 5, 10, 15 years, and it comes up that that's not my child. I see the betrayal, I see the hurt, and I'm probably going to use the same tactic that the women use. You know what I mean? Let's just be honest. And not all women, but a lot of women say, hey, I'm a package deal. You accept me, you got to accept my kid. So if I get rid of you, I'm not going to take care of another man's kid. And that's how a lot of men feel. But even if we get divorced and I have that child there with me, the relationship won't be the same. I'm just gonna be honest, because when I look in that child's face, I see another man's seed. You know what I mean? And I see another man. I see the betrayal that took place with another man. And I see how one man was able to get out of his responsibility and place his responsibility on me for however long it might have been. So that gonna start to develop some type of resentment toward definitely the mom, and it probably gonna change the dynamics of the relationship with the kid. Some men can get through it, but I don't never think the relationship will be the same. Men are ego driven. We are, you know what I mean? And we gonna think, man, she did me like that and then lied to me. What else she's lying to me about? And we know, and when I mean ego driven, we dog stuff out that's not ours. So we thinking, man, he had his way with my wife. She probably was doing stuff to him, you know what I mean, that she won't even do to me. We think like that. We're men, you know what I mean? We then we get into competition with one another, and we be like, man, just like when I had that rental car. Now I'm not trying to compare women to rental cars. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just trying to give you an example. When you go rent a rental car, man or woman, you'll hit a pothole. You'll slam on brakes hard. You'll accelerate hard. Whatever. You it's not yours, and you can take it back. So long as you ain't totaled it out, you fine. And then if you got the insurance, the walkaway insurance that they offer you, now you really don't care. And we as men, we think, well, that man had to be beaten like a silverback gorilla, bro. He probably had my wife turned all inside out. We're thinking like that. So when we look at her, of course, that's over. That's done. Now we look at what them two created, and he has gotten out of his responsibility for however long it is. Yeah, we pissed. We pissed. And I applaud any man that can still keep the relationship with the kid. But my opinion, this is just my opinion. I never had to go through it. I'm just giving you my opinion. But that dynamics of the relationship will change. And then if you keep the relationship with that child, you still almost have a relationship with his mom. You still got to be in some type of touch with his mom, especially, or their mom, him or her, whatever it is. You still got to be in touch with their mom, at least until they get 18 years old, because they'll be considered a minor, anything under 18. So you got to go through the mom if you want to take the kid, pick the kid up. And then she was saying, this lady was saying that, well, because you don't want to pay child support. I'm not paying child support for another man's kid. Now you need to go after him. I'm finna do exactly what Doug Christie did to Jackie in that Chris Webber situation. I'm finna sue them. I am, because you lied. You misled me, and all the money that I put out, that comes to a halt. I'm not paying for anything else. Get him to do it. Like that little voice off on TikTok. Now get somebody else to do it. Because it's only fair. Why am I gonna keep simping while this guy here just whatever he's doing, reaping all the benefits? And then if he decides to come back at 18 years, oh, so how you doing? But I done paid all this money for him or her. I done paid all this money, and I'm out all these resources for what? No, we're not doing that. You know what I mean? Not any man that I know would do that. And yes, it would be hurt, especially if you done bonded with the child. Yes, it would be difficult, and especially if you love that child, but at the same time, you bonded and loved that woman too, and you was able to go y'all separate ways. So I'm just being honest. I know a lot of people don't want to hear these certain things, but I don't see no man simping out for a child that's not his. Or while I'm gonna keep paying child support for to a woman that allowed this other dude to go free. That's not gonna happen. You know what I mean? So yes, but in long story, I know that was a long answer, but that's the reason. It's the hurt, it's the betrayal. We ego driven, and our pride is on the line. And just like anything, just like an animal, huh? You know what I mean? They try to get rid of the kids, they go get rid of the woman. I'm just being that's a bad example, bad analogy, but a lot of lions on these shows I be watching, they try to get rid of another man's kid and then start their own family. I won't do that. And I don't think no man I know would do that, but yeah, we don't want to take care of nobody else's DNA. With that said, maybe Yasharel. Until next time, shalom.